Out Front with Vince Noble, the weekly podcast that gives emerging leaders and career transitioning individuals the information and inspiration to thrive and become their best. Available wherever you download or listen to your podcasts.
There is a new weapon in the fight against COVID-19. The Valoro Company provides NASA-based active pure technology air purifiers that rapidly eliminate 99.9% of airborne SARS-CoV-2 viruses from your immediate environment. This amazing advanced technology filtering system was first developed for use by the NASA Space Shuttle program, and now to help meet the curable demand of the global pandemic crises. This amazing technology is made available at affordable pricing to the general public for your home or place of business use. For more information, contact US Asia OT and Majestics LLC at 689-222-8900 or 312-200-0109. Or email subject information@usasiaonlinetrade@gmail.com.
Welcome to this episode of the Out Front Podcast with host Vince Noble, the podcast that gives emerging leaders and career transitioning individuals the information and inspiration to thrive and become their best. For sponsorship and advertisement opportunities, please contact info@nobleresolutions.com. And now, your host, Vince Noble.
I want to acknowledge each and every one of you who is stepping into your authentic power today.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Out Front Podcast, the show that gives emerging leaders and career transitioning individuals the information and inspiration to thrive and become their best. I am your host, Vince Noble. Hey, I am super excited on today, and once again, we have a very exciting episode today. We have the distinct pleasure of having with us Nana Kawku Dakrawbuu the first, business owner, executive leadership coach, and respectable chief from Ghana. As always, before we get started with these extraordinary conversations, I want to say, as much as I love how intellectually stimulating they are meant to do far more than pique our intellect. They are meant to drive us into meaningful action. So as you listen, our guests are not solely on this show to promote themselves, their services, or products, however, in large part, to provide significant insights and actionable steps to encourage you and engage you, thereby helping to shift you from one level to the next. So I encourage you to listen and to think about how you may make a difference no matter who you are. It is my greatest hope that you find tremendous value in today's episode. In this episode, we'll be talking one-on-one with Nana about his connection with Africa from the U.S., as well as his continued work of connecting the African diaspora through business and economic empowerment. We have a lot to unpack in this episode, so let's go. Nana, welcome to the show today.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you for having me.
Hey, sir, it's certainly a pleasure that you would spend some of your time with us on today, and we certainly don't take that lightly. And we recognize from where you're located in the United States, you had some challenges last week, and it's certainly, again, a pleasure to have you on today.
Oh, no worries. It's an honor. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So, Nana, for those who may not know you that well, tell us a little bit about yourself. What was your early childhood like, your early childhood influences, and what has brought you to the work you so passionately do today?
Yes, absolutely. Well, I'd first like to pay special attention to my king, Okatachi, Dr. Amanfi VII. He's the paramount chief of a Cebu traditional area in Ghana. Nana Obokesi Ampa the first, Nana Kra Kwamina the second, and the other Nana Nom of the traditional area, the Cebu traditional area as a whole, and of course the wonderful people of my village in Akroma. Speaking a little bit about myself, I grew up in Los Angeles, born and raised. I went to USC, the University of Southern California, where I studied entrepreneurship. Graduated with honors. I became a serial entrepreneur. I started my first business when I was, officially started it when I was 22, but worked on it before that, and have since started several successful businesses. I do a lot of work both here and internationally with a focus in Africa. And as far as my early childhood influences go, it would certainly have to be start with my parents. My parents have been pretty influential and inspirational in my life. And outside of that, I would say sports icons, music icons, people like Jerry Rice or Jay-Z, as they represented African American excellence. Together, my parents, and all of my influence represented that African American excellence, the overcoming odds, and being an example of the value of hard work and dedication.
Absolutely. It's always wonderful to gain just a little bit more insights into transformational leaders. And so that's wonderful to hear that. So, Nana, many people, they talk next level stuff. However, in truth, they're not willing to do next level stuff. Typically there's a gap oftentimes between talking about it and really being about it, as I would say. And you certainly is a man widely known for delivering what you say. And I understand, you made a commitment and sort of reconnected with Africa. And as a result was appointed a chief position in Ghana with all the rights, lights, and responsibilities of such. Tell us a little bit about that experience. How did that come to be? But more specifically, what was you thinking at that time when you made the decision or the acceptance with such a huge responsibility?
Yeah, the experience of becoming a chief it's almost inexplainable. It kind of just happens to you. There was a lot of things that kind of had to line up really perfectly to be in a position to where I could be able to assume that kind of a role. There was a lot of things that I had to go through to really achieve that. But I think, but at the time of kind of accepting this responsibility, I think I was thinking about how the actual platform, the chieftaincy, the responsibilities and the role would help me achieve the good that I want to do for humanity. So it really gives me a platform that allows people to look at me so that I can point them towards the things that need to be done in helping to better people's lives, offer opportunities, really just improve their education, knowledge, and the well-being of people. That's kind of my life's goal. So it's really helping me to have the opportunity, the authority, and the ability to be impactful in that way. And so I'm really passionate about educating and the well-being of people, particularly those that are of lesser privilege.
Mm-hmm. So Nana, what would you say that was sort of significant or prepared you in a way for such a position of chief?
Yeah, I'd like to think that I've actually been preparing for this my entire life without even knowing. I think the role of a chief is very important for the people. It's someone that needs to be humble. They can't be self-seeking. They can't be about using the platform to just make a bunch of money or be famous or whatever it may be, or for the power. It's really about using that that power and influence to assist and help other people. So someone that has a heart for that is fit for that type of role, but not only someone that has a heart for it, but someone that has the ability to execute on these things and the know-how and the education. So I think just like my background and my education in entrepreneurship and really bringing opportunities and training people and hiring people, and so just like this whole practice kind of prepared me for it, and then my heart just bleeds for the people. So I think that was kind of the cherry on top that I think made me or makes me qualified for the role.
Mm-hmm. That's wonderful. So now, what are some of your top priorities or concerns as chief, and sort of how do you communicate that to the people? And then once you communicate it or your intent, how is it carried out? Do you have a support staff there in Africa?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So absolutely. I'm really, really early into my chieftaincy, so I honestly can't even comment too much on it yet. But my priorities, my role is Mpuntuhin. I'm Chief Nana Kawku Dakrawbuu the First, and I'm Mpuntuhin of Akroma. And that title Mpuntuhin means development chief, I guess loosely translated. And essentially my role is to help develop my village, Akroma, even the Asebo traditional area, kind of even expanding further out into the central region of Ghana and Ghana itself, even all the way out to Africa as a whole, and what I really want to do is just bring opportunities for employment, education, technological advancements, healthcare advancements, infrastructure advancements, and the like, so that I can offer opportunity. I can create opportunities for people to achieve their dreams and their goals, for a country to begin to export and bring money in to the country and things like that. So that's what I'm really excited about being a part of. And as far as the support system, I have a lot of people there. Obviously, I have the chieftaincy and the Nana Nome. Nana Nome is just plural for Nana. And so I have the Nana Nome that support me. I have some friends that I've been communicating with for a while now. So I have a lot of support, really. I think even some of the best and then the brightest people in the world, in my opinion, are really supporting me in my initiatives. So I'm really excited about that. And obviously my main goal is providing an outlet for Africans in the diaspora to connect to the continental Africans and continental Africa, and both bringing unity and kind of cooperation between the two parties, but also bringing resources and intellect and skills and embodies even, and offering an opportunity for people to check out Africa and see it as a potential place where they could perhaps raise a family and grow into who they were called to be.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. So what has been sort of your primary communication barriers integrating as the new chief?
There hasn't been very many because they do speak English. We speak English there, but I would say, I can't even say there's any really communication barriers. However, when I am there, I'm moving there in April, and when I'm there, I will learn the local dialect, which is Twi and Fanti.
That's wonderful. So, Nana, can you share also what has been your most, I would say, interesting story that happened to you since becoming the chief?
That's an interesting question. I think the most interesting thing is seeing firsthand how chiefs are treated. It's almost surreal coming, from America or coming there as an American with a heart for Africa, because we here in America, we don't really have an understanding of royalty and how to treat royalty and things like that. So really seeing that firsthand as a chief, it's really overwhelming. It's super interesting and very overwhelming. However, it comes with great weight and responsibilities.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So now I happen to believe that more so than ever before, there are actually more African Americans who are honestly considering ways to reconnecting with Africa, if you will, in ways as you have in business development opportunities or what have you. What would you say are the main obstacles in reconnecting, if you will, in meaningful collaborative ways in Africa?
Well, the main obstacle is education. People just don't know. I didn't know
Yes.
until just recently. You know what I'm saying? So I think just educating people, once people understand that Africa is not a dark continent, it's not just a place where there's just jungles and, people are super poor and, there's nothing there. Like as soon as you can get over that hurdle and begin to see that, no, Africa is beautiful. Like there's developments. It's not as developed as certain parts are not as developed as like the United States or Europe per se, but there's a lot of beautiful places to be in Africa, to live, to thrive. So I think education is the biggest obstacle to us really connecting in a meaningful way. The second thing is, okay, now I understand how it is. I see the beauty in it. I see the opportunity. I see how I could potentially live in what I could potentially do. Now, who do I connect with? Like now, how do I actually muster up the gall, if you will, to relocate to Africa? Okay, now I want to go. Now, who do I talk to? Like, how do I now? What? And so I think that becomes the second major impediment, which is why I'm creating pathways and trying to first be a model and saying, hey, I did it in a different way. Obviously I'm coming as royalty. It's a bit different, but it can still be done. Here's what I did. And here's some people, you can connect with. I can plug you in. You want to, come to Ghana. Let me plug you with this person or that person. You want to go to Kenya. Here, I have some connects there. So it's really just, I'm really wanting to be a bridge so that people can have, number one, the education, but then the what now answered, because those are the things that are stopping us. And if we have those things out of the way, I think we see a lot more exploration into Africa and what it has to offer.
So also, I would say now that sort of leads into my next question is that, I mean, obviously, as you articulated that, you do have a certain belief or mindset in terms of sustainment when it comes to the level of investment in Africa. But from your perspective, in terms of a little bit more, in terms of investing in Africa, is it a sound business decision, and is it a sustainable, corporate strategy, would you say?
Yeah. Well, not only is it sound, but it's vital. Africa is the last frontier, if you will. It's the last place that hasn't been fully developed as a continent. And there's just so much opportunity. There's so much investment is going in now, and it's growing exponentially. I think people are starting to wake up. If I'm, speaking bluntly, I think a lot of the Americans and the Europeans and Asians are starting to see the opportunity. Less the African Americans or Africans even that even live there don't see it as the outsiders do. So I think part of us really making that big impact is we have to invest in ourselves. We have to invest in Africa because it is, if we don't, others will, and then we'll miss the ship again. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So it's sustainable. Absolutely. The tech scene is growing rapidly. I think if you're looking for something safe, it's farming, it's manufacturing, but there's still huge opportunities in those. Those are very, very sustainable businesses and business models. And if you're looking for, something more risky but could be well worth it, it's tech.
Mm-hmm.
There's tech and infrastructure. It's real estate. All these things are just growing at an exponential rate, and there's so much opportunity for us to capitalize on that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So now, what would you say to that one person that's listening, that's sort of on the fence, that is saying, I'd love to go back to Africa and invest, but it's just too risky. What was that? What would be that one thing you would say to them?
Yeah, I would say you're right. It is risky, but not, it's scary, right? But nothing worth having is easy or an easy call, right? I would say you just need to do research and educate yourself. Really, really take the time to consider what it is and how it is, and get in contact with people like me, who can give good advice about it from a firsthand perspective, from a diasporan perspective. Someone that comes from outside of Africa, that's moving to Africa, that has both experiences. I think you'll get a lot more valuable insight from those kind of people. And all in all, just visit Ghana. They call Ghana the gateway to Africa, because it's an entry level kind of experience that gives you a bit of all of Africa, a bit of what all of Africa has to offer. So, um, and the people are just so friendly and so wonderful and so welcoming, to us to go there. It's truly a great place to be. It's safe. A lot of people are concerned with safety and getting kidnapped and things like that. I think you don't have to worry so much about that in Ghana, as you may in other countries in Africa. But yeah, it's extremely safe. It's extremely enjoyable, extremely fun, with extremely great people. So I would say plan a trip. Doesn't even cost all that much, and see it firsthand. And if you need anyone, reach out to me.
Mm-hmm.
If you're
Yeah.
really serious about
Mm-hmm.
being involved in the Africa movement, whether it's your own resources, or investing, or you want to help with building in any way, education, healthcare, whatever it may be, um, get in touch with me. I can point you in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So now I truly do see you as, sort of this emerging global leader. That's in fact, it's in the midst of a very tough season for so many people,
Mhm.
and many people are seeking clarity and inspiration and actionable steps and tools to help them sort of continue to navigate many different organizational practices and protocols, if you will,
Mhm.
during these extraordinary times. So I have to ask, even from a leader perspective,
Mhm.
how are you doing in terms of, your spiritual, mental, physical, emotional well-being,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
what encouragement and or advice would you give to those that are in truth, mentally taxed in this mental marathon, as I would say?
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
what would you say to them in terms of how to navigate the day-to-day operations of a business while keeping momentum in this COVID environment?
Yeah, that is a great question. I think um, for me personally, I have a huge support system. I think having a support system is very, very vital. If you're out there alone and you're by yourself, um, discouragement sets in. Negative thoughts, negative feelings, even depression and things, and just negative self-talk. All these things can linger and convince you, that things are never going to get better. So I think having a support system, people you can reach out to, whether they're family or friends, or, if you're religious, you're a pastor or whatever it may be, a religious guide or whatever it may be for you, but counseling even, I think just having a support system is vitally important in these times. And for me, I've been doing well, spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally. Not always all day, every day, right? Like we all go through our challenges and our ups and downs. It's definitely been a roller coaster for me. But the overall of it is I'm good. And the reason I'm good is first and foremost because of my God. And I truly believe he sustained me and he has provided and cared for me, and really given me favor. But over that, just my family loves and supports me. And, to even consider moving to Ghana or things like that, like these are big, big, big life decisions. And if you don't have family or friends that can support that, it's hard to make those decisions, right? And then I have the Nana Nome in my village. And so I think for people, it's just being reminded that the seasons do not always last, right? No matter how bad or how grim or how dark the tunnel looks, there's always light at the end, right? So during this season of trying to navigate COVID, and my business is suffering, and my personal life is suffering, and just things are crazy. People are dying. Like it's chaos right now, right? But just keeping your eye on the prize, and I think that's like, know that this is going to end at some point. And let me continue to push forward so that when it does end, I'm in a place where I can continue to move forward and achieve success, and get rest. Rest is important. Rest is just as important as the grind. I don't think that's talked about or stressed enough. But get enough rest so that you're fully equipped and fully energized to keep pushing forward.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. That's wonderful. So, Nana, let's shift a little bit, if you will, to the business. What were some of your motivations or the conditions that led you to forming Pratt Business Solutions, and also sort of overseeing the operations of several light companies?
Yeah, I think life and life conditions, and just the path of life and the way things just unfolded. I'm an entrepreneur in every sense of the word, right? I'm just entrepreneurial. It's just part of my being. So entrepreneurial people always find pain, and they always find solutions to pain, and that's how you make a business. So for me, I felt like I did a lot of consulting. I did a lot of headhunting and recruiting for large organizations, as large as Fortune 500 companies, down to your single person startups. And so I've kind of consulted and been involved in these levels of businesses for so long that I just decided, like, that let me make a business out of it, and so I kind of summed everything I was doing up into Pratt Business Solutions and continued to grow that, which led to me connecting and doing things in Africa and partnerships and growing, and which eventually led me to my chieftaincy. So I think life has been, it's just life conditions and being entrepreneurial minded. Being entrepreneurial minded is kind of how I've been motivated to start and partner with the companies that I'm currently engaged with.
So Nana, in terms of emerging markets, what do you see the possibilities of being in Africa, and specifically, what insights would you share for those seeking to start up opportunities?
Yeah, so emerging markets, I mean, anything in tech, farming, manufacturing, healthcare, education, infrastructure development, like real estate. If I'm honest, it's pretty much anything. Like there's so many. Every market is emerging in Africa right now. You know what I mean? It's because Africa is emerging, and so the one thing that really is working really well, in my opinion, is the fact that Africa almost is the last place to develop. So it has a model. You can look at America, you can look at Europe, you can look at China, like you can look all around the world, Dubai, and see their infrastructure, see how it's set up, see how things are working, see how money is flowing in and out, and then start to model after that. And so, for example, right now they're using 2 and 3G for their phone's cellular service. So if you were to figure out a way to either use high speed or get it up to 5G, or even to use something completely different than a G, like, you know what I'm saying? Like create something new. Like there's so much opportunity to do those kind of things because it's not set up. Like where it would be hard to start a new business in America or try to find a new pain in America because there's, it's all about innovation and the next best thing, right? Because everything's set up. So it's like the next best thing. But in Africa, it's not like the next best thing. It's just like the main thing. It still needs to be developed, right? So like there's so many opportunities in just doing the main thing: infrastructure, real estate, manufacturing, like setting up healthcare facilities. Like these things are, even, training hospitals. And I think with the rise of COVID, it really shifted everything to digital. So that in itself is going to be a game changer for a developing nation like Africa, a developing continent like Africa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now, what would you say, sort of the biggest mistakes or misconceptions from your perspective, at least? What do you see those startup companies make in Africa?
Yeah, I think they don't fully plan. I think a lot of the times, and not all of them, obviously, but a lot of the times projects, people will start projects before they raise all the capital that's necessary. So I think the intention is like, if we just get going, we'll have the money, or we could just do this first phase, and then while we're doing the first phase, we could raise the money for the next phase. But that doesn't always happen, right? You get to the end of the first phase and you don't have any money for the second phase. Now you have a partial project. You see this a lot in home building, like out there. You'll see a lot of homes that are just not done, and it's like because they ran out of resources, or they're building it over time. Maybe they're building it over a year or 3 years. And it's just a house, right? And I think that a lot of that can be eliminated by planning more accurately, and raising money from credible sources that can see your vision and can see all that you need, and then you can break it up into certain releases of your money, or a full investment, or whatever it may be. But having all the money before you start a project, in my opinion, is the best way to go.
Yes, exactly. So now, I always say on this show that a huge part of this show is about positive winning mindsets and about being resilient and demonstrating mental toughness, learning to face adversity, all while sort of continually to lead, live, win, and fulfill dreams. And so we truly bring guests to this show that truly embodies what this show is all about. And you certainly, sir, embody what this show is all about. And hey, we salute you on today. And we really, truly appreciate you coming today. So now we're in this segment of the show that we call Hot Seat. And where we ask a few random hot topic questions that most of our listeners just want to know from leaders. And so my first question would be, if you could turn back the time and talk to that 18-year-old self, what would you say to him?
What wouldn't I say to him, right? I guess the main thing I would say is focus now. Like, pay attention in class. Like when I was first at USC, I ran track there, and it wasn't about school. It was about sports and fun and partying and all that, and I would just say you can have all that fun later. Like just focus now, and you'll be able to achieve your dreams much sooner and be able to enjoy your life much sooner, and not have to go through all the heartaches that you went through, that I went through at 35.
Yeah.
So I would
Right.
say there's a lot that you can learn and avoid. But in the same breath, I think all those things made me who I am. So I think there's like, I wouldn't change it, but if I could go back and tell him, I would be like, man, just pay attention and knock it out now. Like, so you don't have to do it later. Like I went to school, and I dropped out, and, did life a little bit, started a few companies, and went back and finished. Right. So I would be like, just knock it out now. You're like, get it done. So things like that, but I do feel like there's no real mistakes in business and in life. I think only, failure only leads to lessons. I think that if you learn them, then you can grow. You grow towards success. They say fail your way to success, or, I think that's a familiar thing. But yeah, just, there's no mistakes in business. Only failures that lead to success.
Absolutely.
And in
Absolutely.
life.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. So now, what would you say something people seem to misunderstand about you?
Misunderstand. I would say, I think people tend to take my kindness for weakness.
Mhm.
I'm a very nice, very humble, very just caring. I love people. I love peace. I love seeing people smile. Like I love these things. So I tend to avoid conflict if I don't have to engage in conflict, right? If I feel conflict rising, I tend to withdraw myself or try to diffuse it. And that can lead to people feeling like I'm perhaps weak or, whatever. But I do like to say I have a long fuse, but a big bomb. You know what I'm saying? So it
Mhm.
takes,
Mhm.
I'm very patient, and it takes a long
Right.
time to actually get me to that point of exploding, but I can't
Right.
explode, you know?
Right.
So I think
Absolutely.
that, yeah, just my kindness for weakness.
Yeah, absolutely. So now, what would you say has been, your greatest personal achievement?
Yeah, well, I think outside of my faith in God, being a husband, being a father, um, I would say just being crowned as a chief. It really allows me to do much more good in a shorter amount of time than I would have otherwise.
Hmm.
Hmm.
That's wonderful. So my next question will be, what has sort of been your biggest failure, you would say, and then what did you learn from it?
Mm. I would say that my biggest failure would probably be my first business failing, because I think that
Hmm.
having such high aspirations and being so passionate about it, and it's my baby and blah, 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 and then it not working out and be having to shift gears or start another business and whatnot. I think that it really showed me that entrepreneurship is not so much about the business, it's about the journey.
Mm.
And being on that journey is what fuels and drives me.
Mhm.
And what that failure of a business wasn't really a failure, because I learned a lot of skills in that
Mhm.
time, figuring it out, falling on my face. So I think I can't even call it failure. I think I learned that um, the failure is not the opposite of success; it's a part of success. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? And I think that, failing, I just kept failing and getting back up, and all right, let me try it like this. Okay, not
Mhm.
that. Let me try it like this. And I think that skill over time uh, led to my success today.
Mhm. I would even say at times that sort of requires developing a certain intimacy, if you will, with failure, where
Hmm.
you don't view it as sort of an end all, as you said.
Yeah, it doesn't even sting as much. You're kind of like, oh, okay, it didn't work. All right, well, let me try this.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
versus when it first happened, I was like bummed, like, dang, I really thought
Mhm.
this was it. You know, you know, I'm like, I guess not. What else you got for me, God? You know, like,
Right. Right. So now, what makes you feel inspired or like being your best?
Music, I think.
Mm.
I play several instruments,
Oh, wow.
and so when I get a chance to just get lost in my instruments, you know, my mind is free. I'm relaxed. I'm calm. You know, I'm in my happy place. So I think music really is my therapy, and it really helps me just to escape from life for a little bit and just get lost. So I think that allows me the break that I need from the stresses of the days and the pressure, the mental, attacks and all that stuff throughout the day that allows me to just get away for a second and refresh myself.
Absolutely. So now, before we go, how can people connect with you either online or through social media with some of the things you're doing once again in Africa or even here in the U.S.?
Yeah, well, I think LinkedIn would probably be the most reliable way to get in contact with me. You can find me on there at either Michael B. Pratt or Nana Kawku Dakrawbuu the First. Either one you put in should pull me up. And secondarily would probably be Instagram or Facebook. I don't use them as much. And I don't check them as much, but you can reach out to me on there. My handle on Instagram is at Nana Dakrawbuu. Facebook, I believe that it's Mike Pratt, one of those, or it's Nana Dakrawbuu. I'm not sure what I updated it to. But it's something in that realm. And I would say if you're really, really serious about making a move there's one thing to inquire, and that's okay. But once you're past inquiry and you're really like, I really want to explore this as a possibility, then you can email me. My email, I'll leave my email. Please do not blow up my email with just a whole bunch of randomness, but but feel free to email me if you're seriously interested in being a part of the movement, being a part of what I'm doing, and staying in touch. You can email me. My email is Michael B as in boy Pratt Pratt @gmail.com.
Absolutely. That's wonderful, sir. So now listen, thank you once again for joining us today. And it has certainly been a pleasure spending some time with you on today. So please come back and join us sometime soon.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
We certainly hope that you enjoyed today's episode. So make sure to join our Facebook group, Out Front with Vince Noble. And don't forget to comment, rate, share, and subscribe on the Apple Podcast or wherever you listen to download your podcast. Until next time, remember, you still get to write your own life story.